like to move. Tryna catch me howling at the moon. Tryna catch me howling at the moon. Tryna catch me howling at the moon.
The WRX enters its 5th model year on the same chassis. There's only been incremental changes over that time. Today we're taking a look at the 2020 WRX Premium with the Performance Package. Is it enough to stand up to the competition today? Let's talk about it. So there's been a variety of small changes for the 2020 model year. This particular WRX is in a brand new color for this year. It's Magnetite Gray Metallic. It replaced the previous dark gray metallic. The new color has more of a silver flake to it. You can probably see how the sun's bouncing off the angles. And whereas the dark gray metallic had more of a mixed, the metallics in it were gold and silver, and it was just a little bit darker of a color overall. Closer actually to the color of the wheels here. Which brings me to the next major improvement for the 2020 model year. We have 4 piston Brembo brakes in the front and 2 piston in the rear. Now, these brakes are actually the same Brembos that are from the 2008 to 2017 STI. You'll probably know them as the black brakes that said STI across it. Well, these have been recolored and repurposed for the WRX. As you know, the STI starting in 2018 was upgraded to 6 piston brake calipers in the front. So this is a really great addition to the WRX, both aesthetically and performance-wise. You're going to get a lot better brake feel, a lot better resistance to brake fade, especially if you do autocross or track days. And so this really makes the performance package what it's supposed to be, high performance. Under the hood, we have the same FA20 DIT motor that was introduced in 2015, which produces 268 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. The motor over the 5 years is really unchanged, but it's a solid motor that returns excellent gas mileage for the type of vehicle it is. This particular one is mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. It's also available with a CVT, although most owners opt for the 6-speed manual. When it comes to the front of the car, in the fog lights, headlights area, we're going to kind of go over what you get with each different trim level. So there's the base WRX, the premium WRX, the limited WRX, and then of course the STI and STI limited. As far as the front goes, it starts with the base WRX. You're going to get these fog bezels that have just sort of a block off for the fog light. So you have your turn signal here and your halogen projector headlights. You move up to the premium, it comes standard with the fog lights in the bezel, but of course you have your turn signal here and still these halogen headlights. They are, for the 2020 model year, they are automatic headlights. So you can just set it to auto, and when it gets dark enough, they'll turn on, and then when it gets light enough, they'll turn off. So when you move up to the limited WRX, you get the fog lights, but there's block offs for the turn signals because you get the premium LED headlights that have integrated turn signals, basically where the high beam is here. When you move into the STI and the STI Limited, they have the same LED projector headlights that you find in the WRX Limited. However, you no longer have a fog light at all. There's a bezel that just completely covers this area. Moving on to the back of the car, nothing has really changed since it was introduced in 2015. It comes with the little duckbill lip spoiler on the top of the trunk, and the taillights are still the same. They have the LED portion that makes out this C shape. That's going to be your brake and running light. Then you have just a standard incandescent bulb for the turn signal, as well as your backup light. And of course, there's the quad exhaust from the factory that looks pretty nice. And we'll go ahead and play you guys a sound clip of that as well. interior, aside from the seat choices, is very similar between every trim level. So you have a leather wrapped steering wheel, but this year there's an option to upgrade to an ultra suede steering wheel for $499, I believe is the MSRP, and that's available on every model across the entire range. Overall, the cabin is a spacious and nice place to be. I'm 6'2", and I have no problem with the seat adjustability, being able to get into a comfortable position with the steering wheel. I have it extended really, I have it maxed out towards me, and I have longer legs, so I have the seat back all the way, but it's a comfortable position to be in. And without the sunroof, I have at least a good 2 to 3 inches above my head. So if you're doing autocross or track days, it should not be a problem having a helmet unless you're taller than me, having space for the helmet inside the cab here. So starting with the model year 2018, Subaru started offering the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto head units. This is available in the WRX Premium, Limited, and also the STI models. You can also opt for the upgraded Harman Kardon system in the WRX Limited or the STI. But the Apple CarPlay version of this is so much better than the standard version. The audio quality is much better. The responsiveness of going through the apps and going through the menus is much better than the previous model years. For the climate control knobs, in the base and premium model, you have automatic climate control, but it's limited to a single temperature. So in the WRX Limited and STI models, you can adjust the passenger and driver side. Moving on to the multi-function display you can see up here. It's a full color LED display. The screen that I keep it on most of the time is your boost gauge here. You can see it obviously has a clock, the outside temperature, and then actively shows you the boost you're making when you're driving. There's also a clock mode with the date. Then you have this sort of triple gauge here, which gives you your gas mileage, your current gas mileage, whatever you're getting in the moment, and then how many miles you can go on your current tank of gas. This is your angle and tilt screen that shows you which different wheels either have traction or losing traction, and then also the angle your car's at. This is more of a off-road feature, or if you're going through like snow or mud. I personally don't use this screen very often. Now this is 3 gauges that are fully customizable. So I have it set to oil temperature, boost, and accelerator pedal percentage. So these are my 3 favorite things I like to keep track of. You can, with the oil temperature, you can tell when your car is truly fully warmed up, and then boost obviously shows how much the turbo is working, and the accelerator position just shows what percent of the throttle you're pushing. So that's it. There's also some different customizable features in the options menu here. You can set your birthday. You can also set maintenance reminders. You can also set anniversary reminders so that the multifunction display pops up when those events occur. The gauge cluster consists of 2 analog gauges, your tachometer and your speedometer. You also have your temperature and fuel gauge there. In the middle is an LED display that shows your mileage. It also shows your cruise control speed, your current speed if you want. It's semi-customizable. It doesn't really show that much information, but it does rotate a little bit. You can see here you have your trip time, and then you also have your speed. It can also display other information if you have it can display warnings to you if something's going wrong. But other than that, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You have your trip A and trip B. On the left side of the steering wheel, you have your basic control for navigating songs, skipping left or skipping forward and back, muting, turning the volume up and down. You also have voice commands. You can choose the source your music's coming from. You can answer and decline calls. And these controls down here toggle your center display on the gauge cluster from that speedometer and information area. On the right side of the steering wheel is where you control your cruise control from. You activate and deactivate the cruise control function using this button. You set and adjust it using this toggle here, and of course you can cancel as well. So as mentioned earlier, the WRX models now come with the automatic headlight option. So you can either turn your headlights on manually or just set it to auto and they'll come on when it gets dark enough. Since this is a premium model with the fog lights, you also have your toggle switch here, which allows you to turn the fog lights on and off. And this is also your turn signal stock as well as the high beam activator. On the driver's side window, you have control over your left and right mirrors with this electronic control toggle. You also have automatic windows on the driver and passenger side window, so you can just one click to roll up or down. On the rear windows, you still have the traditional, you have to push and hold down to either roll them up or roll them down. All right, so let's talk about back seat room in the WRX. So being a 6'2" person, this seat, the driver's seat is adjusted to where I would ideally like it to be. The base of the seat is all the way back and it's leaned back a little as well. Being a 6'2" passenger with a 6'2" driver is a little bit difficult. Obviously I can't bring my knees in, and the headroom it's pretty good, but it's starting, my hair's brushing against the headliner a little. So you're pretty much at the max that you're gonna be able to have in terms of backseat passengers. The actual seating, the cushion and material feels great. It's just a little bit, if you're a larger person, this back seat is gonna be a bit uncomfortable for you. So a big advantage to the storage capability of the WRX is the fact that the back seats fold down. You just pull this knob and then you have full access in between the trunk and then the front of the car. I've been able to, in the past, fit a Christmas tree inside of here. I've seen people fit engine lifts. Of course, you have to get a little creative. But having this ability with a pretty wide opening to the trunk allows you to haul a lot of different things if you're in a pinch. All right, as you can see, there's plenty of space inside of the trunk to fit lots of things. There's no shortage of cargo space, especially for a sedan of this size. It's a very generous trunk space that you can fit lots of stuff in. We're gonna show you right now, we're gonna load it up with all our camera gear so you can kind of get an idea of how the space is. This generation WRX is now entering its 5th model year in the 2020 model. And I have to say that the incremental improvements that Subaru has made each model year have made it so that as it sits today, it is a better value than ever. I think that particularly on the premium package with the performance package, with the Brembo brakes and the Recaro seats, that's really the sweet spot for what most enthusiasts are gonna want from the WRX. Not only do the brakes look amazing, but the feel is improved dramatically. That with the Apple CarPlay sound system has brought this car really to a place where I think it should have started. If you're looking for something that is all-wheel drive, turbocharged, and manual transmission, you're not gonna really find anything that's a better value. And it's overall a fantastic car, especially with just the addition of a few aftermarket parts. You know, replacing the exhaust and tuning the engine really makes the FA20 come alive. And so I still think that it's the best value, especially in the base trim, coming in at the mid to high $20,000 range. What you're getting for the money is a lot in terms of performance. I'm really excited to see what Subaru's going to do when they move the WRX to their global platform. Hopefully we see that in model year 2021, but so far there's been no announcements. So for now we have the 2020, and we'll just have to wait and see what Subaru does.